Hello, everyone, and welcome us back to the YouTube channel. And today is the F1, was at 7 a.m. this morning, the F1 2026 Chinese Grand Prix. And what a race it was! A lot happened. We're going to get into all of that. Of course, spoilers ahead. If you have not seen the race, be sure to go see the highlights before you watch this. We're going to discuss what happened, who won, and yeah, what the next few weeks could look like. We've got Japan week after next, I think, and then there's no racing for a few weeks due to Bahrain and Saudi being cancelled due to the ongoing issues in the Middle East. So it's gonna be a while till we talk about more F1 after Japan. But for now, let's talk about the Chinese Grand Prix. Subscribe like as always for more F1 talk. And for now, enjoy. So the simple thing is, it was a four-car race again. The same four that came the top four last week, and I think the same four that came yesterday in the sprint, I believe. If I've got that right. The sprint. I know Mercedes won the sprint. Oh, no, Antonelli came fifth, Norris came fourth. So, but yeah, for the most part, Mercedes and Ferrari have been in the top five three times now this season. And Mercedes have been fantastic. Antonelli was absolutely brilliant. He was just miles ahead. Very smart with his driving today and his pit stops, and just obviously he had a bit of a lock up towards the end in his left front tire, but he was like 9 seconds ahead. I think he dropped a couple of seconds off, and he's still seven seconds clear of Russell. Um, some amazing battle between Hamilton and Charles, but at the same time, they I thought they were going to risk it and smash into each other at times, and that could have been very costly. But especially with the McLaren boys being out, these are the important races where Mercedes and Ferrari need to be getting, multiple points ahead. Max retired in this race, which was just crazy to see. It was just one of those mental races where I think by the end of it, seven cars had retired, both Aston Martin cars, both McLaren cars, Max, Bortoleto, and Albon. So, you had half of Williams out there, you had half of Audi out there, half Red Bull finished. The whole of McLaren didn't even start the race. They had electrical issues, I think. Aston Martin, Stroll, I think he got a bit of damage because the yellow flag came on, so he ended up having to retire. Alonso, I think his F1 career is very close to ending because I think the commentators said he was losing feeling in his hands because of how intense the cars are. So that's never good. And he's had to retire both weekends now in both of the main races. So I don't think it's looking good for Alonso, and I think he should be calling it a day soon. But you've got to be so happy for Antonelli, 19 years old, an Italian driver. He's been absolutely amazing since he became a Mercedes driver, replacing Hamilton. Last season, he was brilliant for the most part. This season, he's absolutely just smashed it every single week. Yeah, he was fifth in the sprint yesterday, but he's still getting points on the board every single time. Russell's been elite. Charles and Hamilton are absolutely brilliant, and just hoping he can get over the line and get a couple of wins this season. But just glad Ferrari were on the podium. You've got to give full respect to the Haas and who were the other? But for like a big chunk of the middle part of the race, you had Haas and I'm in brain for that, and Alpine. The four of them were just going back and forth, overtaking each other, and it was some brilliant driving. Ocon, he ended up dropping off towards the end. Colapinto ended up dropping off. Gasly finished sixth, so absolutely amazing from him. And Lawson, he finished seventh. More points on the board. Behrman was absolutely brilliant. I thought Ocon was going to finish above him in the end, as the race was going on. But, he finished fifth. And yeah, he was 20 seconds behind fourth place, but he was comfortably in fifth. The top four was never changing. they might have interchanged the order because like Charles to go at Hamilton, Hamilton to go up a Charles. Russell was in fourth for a period of time, but between the four of them, they've just been absolutely fantastic from the get go. Um, it's never pleasant seeing seven cars not finish the race. The standards, the top four are like in their own bracket, and then the rest are sort of just there. Like I said, for Max to retire, for the McLarens not to be involved, there isn't. There's talent, but there's not talent that can catch the four of these because these guys are talented and they have the best cars. So when you mix both of those, it just becomes very hard to catch them. And with all the new rules and regulations, a lot of cars aren't finishing. A lot of cars are having issues. Um, it's like I said, I'm not the biggest expert on F1, but I could at least be happy that Ferrari, it's gone in their favour with all the changes, and it's great to see Hamilton driving back at his best. His last season, it was abysmal to watch. Love how good Russell's doing, and Charles always been in the mix. This is my third season I'm watching for F1. F1. I think he's just brilliant. But now Hamilton's got a better car and driving at his best, he will be pushing Charles to his limits. So it's going to be intriguing. But the constructors, I think these two are going to be a given. Who's third will be is that's a crazy one. But at the moment, after the third race, Mercedes are on 98, Ferrari are on 67, and then the drop is to McLaren at 18. So even though McLaren didn't race, they still are ahead by 1 point against the Haas team. Cadillac and Aston Martin are still to get any points, but they're just going to be woeful this season. And the standings are with Russell still in the lead with 51, Antonelli with 47, and the Ferrari boys on 34 and 33, with Behrman taking over Norris and being on 17. Gasly's up there, Lawson and Lindblad neck and neck. And the only people not to have points at the moment are the Aston Martin lads, who I don't think will get any points this season unless something really crazy happens. Cadillac, Bottas and Perez have just not got going this season. Albon, Hulkenberg, and Ocon. I mean, Ocon deserves points because he was fantastic, but he just dropped off and he just couldn't keep the momentum going. But overall, it was a good race for the most part when the four of them were going neck and neck. But then when Antonelli just went ahead and George got comfortable in second, it was just a case of who was going to finish third. It was more exciting to see like the battles in between from the other cars. Crazy to see all the dropouts and obviously the people who didn't start the race. And you just hope Japan is a bit more exciting. And now they've got 2 weeks to rectify all the issues. So I am hoping we have a full race of 22 for at least most of the race, because I think last weekend there was 5 dropouts. There was 7 in this one. So we just need to hope the engineers and whatever can just make it more enjoyable to watch. It is enjoyable for the most part, but you want to be watching a race of all 22. But again, you could always be happy because like the McLarens have not got points and the Ferraris and Mercedes has. Red Bull dropped points because Max dropped out and his partner, Max's partner, he didn't do the greatest. So we'll see what happens in Japan in a couple of weeks. I'll keep you posted on that. Since there's no F1 next weekend, I will be doing. Let me just double check. There is no. I think I saw it as the weekend of the 27th, 29th. So we will have a weekend off from talking about the Grand Prix. But next weekend we will do our predictions for the season. Now we've watched a couple of races. We've got an idea of who's doing what. So we'll do our order of the 22, and then you guys can give me your thoughts down below. But of course, let me know down below in the comments your thoughts on the Chinese Grand Prix. The sprint reaction and the qualifying reaction went out yesterday. So be sure to check that out. Subscribe like as always, and I will be back with more F1 content soon. Goodbye.